Max Verstappen, already dominating the Formula One season, finds himself in the middle of a fiery controversy after a shocking penalty at the Qatar Grand Prix. Was this punishment justified, or is the FIA sending a message to the sport's top driver? Today, we're breaking down what happened during one of the most talked about moments of the season. Stay tuned to hear the full story because this one's far from over. Now, let's dive into what actually went down. It was the final moments of qualifying, and Max Verstappen, who had just put down a flawless lap to grab pole position, was cooling down his Red Bull car. As he made his way through the track, George Russell in the Mercedes was coming up fast behind him, trying to prepare for his final flying lap. Verstappen's pace seemed to slow down too much, forcing Russell to take quick action to avoid a collision. Russell wasn't the only one who thought this was dangerous. Over the team radio, he called it super dangerous. It didn't take long for the FIA to launch an investigation, and what followed next? A penalty that shocked everyone involved. So, what did the FIA decide? They hit Verstappen with a one-place grid drop and slapped a penalty point on his super license. But here's where things get interesting. Verstappen wasn't even on a flying lap when the incident happened, which makes this penalty pretty unusual. Typically, if a driver impedes someone during a hot lap, it's a three-place grid drop. But for Max, the FIA chose a rare one-place penalty with no clear explanation as to why. Max lost his pole position to Russell and was visibly frustrated, but the penalty didn't stop there. The one-point hit on his super license took his total to 6, and for anyone following F1, that's a significant number. Accumulating 12 points in a 12-month period results in an automatic race ban. So while Verstappen isn't in immediate danger of missing a race, the pressure is on, and every move he makes from here on out will be under the microscope. Now, things start to get a bit murky when we compare Max's penalty to what happened to his teammate, Sergio Perez, just earlier in the weekend. During the sprint qualifying, Perez also faced scrutiny for driving slowly on track, but he didn't get hit with a grid penalty or any penalty points. So, why the difference? This inconsistency raised some eyebrows, especially among fans who started questioning if Verstappen, being the face of Red Bull's dominance, was being targeted unfairly. Was this penalty about enforcing the rules? Or was it more about creating drama in a season where the championship battles have already been decided? The FIA's decision has certainly sparked a debate, and it's one that could change the way we look at future penalties in Formula One. Max didn't just accept the penalty. He defended his actions, saying that he was cooling his tires and had already let 2 cars pass before Russell came up behind him. According to Max, he had clear visibility of Russell in his mirrors and didn't think there was any real danger in what he did. Verstappen argued that his slow pace was entirely intentional. He was giving himself space to prepare for a final flying lap. But the stewards weren't having any of it. They pointed out that his position on the racing line and his slower than usual pace were clear violations of the race director's notes. The rules were clear: no impeding or dangerous behavior, and in their eyes, Max's actions crossed that line. This is where things get tricky. Was the punishment too harsh for what was, in Verstappen's eyes, just a normal part of his strategy? Now, this is where the real controversy lies. Was the penalty proportionate to the offense? On one hand, the rules are the rules. Verstappen did violate them. But on the other hand, the severity of the penalty, especially when compared to Perez's much lighter reprimand, raises some serious questions about fairness. Why wasn't Perez penalized in the same way for his similar actions earlier in the weekend? It's all about consistency. Fans, pundits, and even drivers themselves are wondering, is the FIA really just enforcing the rules equally across the board? Or is there something more at play here? With the title already decided and the season winding down, is the FIA trying to keep things interesting with these kinds of decisions? This whole situation has definitely opened the door to a bigger conversation about how penalties are handed out in Formula One. The FIA's role in Formula One is often a double-edged sword. On one hand, they're there to ensure safety and fair competition, but on the other hand, their decisions have a huge impact on the narrative of the season. And sometimes even the legacies of the drivers. With Verstappen already securing the Drivers' Championship and Red Bull clinching the Constructors' title, the pressure to keep the season interesting seems higher than ever. By handing out these penalties to Verstappen, the FIA has certainly added an unexpected twist to the Qatar Grand Prix. But that begs the question, are they really enforcing the rules? Or is there an underlying agenda? Whether the FIA is intentionally creating drama or just upholding the regulations, it's clear that their decisions are shaping how the season is remembered. And for Max Verstappen, these penalties are a frustrating reminder that no matter how dominant you are, you're still subject to the same rules as everyone else. For Verstappen, this penalty adds another layer of pressure for the rest of the season. With 6 penalty points already on his super license, he's now walking a fine line. If he picks up any more points, he could hit the dreaded 12-point threshold, which would trigger an automatic race ban. That's a situation no driver wants to be in, especially someone as competitive as Max. This looming possibility has changed the way Verstappen might approach the remainder of the season. He'll need to be extra cautious on track, knowing that every decision, every move could push him closer to that dangerous 12-point mark. But this situation isn't just a challenge for Verstappen, it's a challenge for the FIA too. They have to balance enforcing the rules with ensuring that their decisions don't unfairly affect the outcomes of races or the reputations of drivers. For Max, this controversy will be a test of his resilience and ability to adapt under pressure. But this story is about more than just Max Verstappen. It's about the role of the FIA in shaping Formula One as a sport. At its core, F1 is all about skill, speed, and strategy. But incidents like this highlight how much influence the stewards and their decisions really have on the season's outcomes. For the FIA, every decision they make is part of a much larger narrative. Whether they're enforcing the rules or making judgment calls, their actions set the tone for the entire season. And in a sport as high stakes as F1, that influence can't be underestimated. Max Verstappen's penalties, though frustrating for him and his fans, are a reminder of just how powerful the FIA's role is in writing the story of each season. As the season draws to a close, Max Verstappen's penalty at the Qatar Grand Prix will likely be remembered as one of the most controversial moments of 2024. While some believe the FIA was simply enforcing the rules, others see it as a case of selective punishment, especially when comparing Verstappen's penalty to the leniency shown to his teammate, Perez. For Max, this incident is more than just about losing pole position or gaining a penalty point. It's about the bigger picture, how the FIA's decisions affect the entire sport and its drivers. As for Verstappen, it's clear he'll need to tread carefully moving forward. With the race ban looming in the distance, this will be a test of his ability to stay focused, adapt, and keep his cool under pressure. No matter where you stand on this issue, one thing's for sure: the FIA's influence on F1 is undeniable. It's a force that shapes the sport, the drivers, and the outcomes of the races. For now, all eyes will remain on Max as he navigates this new challenge in his quest to finish the season strong.